In the 3rd year of my marriage to Ethan, he took a mistress in our neighborhood. I knew it all along, but continued to play the part of a dutiful wife. It wasn't until my sister, Mia, became the top student in the state and was giving an interview that everything changed. His new mistress deliberately walked her dog off leash, and a half-grown pit bull lunged at Mia, biting her head and refusing to let go. Mia was severely mutilated, convulsing, and rushed to the ICU. When I received the doctor's call, I cried and knelt before Ethan, begging him to retrieve specialized immune globulin from another state. If injected within 2 hours, my sister, my only family, could live. But he looked at me with a smirk. Grace, you really go to great lengths to vie for attention. Tiffany's dog is so gentle, how could it bite anyone? He embraced his new mistress and strode away. My sister, Mia, died on the spot after rescue efforts failed. At the funeral, I faced Margaret, who had come to pay her respects, and handed her a set of divorce papers. Mom, I've repaid the Gu family's kindness. Please let me go. One Mom, let's get divorced. Let me be free, and let Ethan be free too. I handed Ethan's mother the gift box that Tiffany had sent over. Inside the gift box were explicit photos of Tiffany and Ethan. The background was the marital bed I had personally chosen, but the woman in the bed was Tiffany. Each close-up shot captured Tiffany's provocative gaze. You scoundrel. Margaret gritted her teeth, then turned to comfort me. Grace, Ethan is just a scoundrel. Don't take it to heart. I'll take care of it for you. I'll definitely take care of it. This time, I said nothing. I just pressed speakerphone and dialed Ethan's number. Once connected, Tiffany's sharp and cloying voice, typical of their intimate activities, came through the phone. Ethan, is your boring wife checking up on you again? Immediately followed by Ethan's cold, annoyed sneer. Forget about her, she's just a dog. My heart was pierced again. So, in his mind, I was nothing more than a dog. Ethan. My sister, Mia, passed away. I spoke calmly. On the other end of the line, I heard intertwined breaths. Tiffany's voice was filled with a sharp and cloying tone, typical of their intimate activities. Dead? Then who's going to bow down and apologize to my baby? I don't care. Ethan, I don't care. Even if they're dead, you have to bring their ashes so my baby can bow down to them. She was the one who scared my baby first. Her baby was the dog that killed my sister, Mia. When I was 15, my parents were both swept away by the current while saving people caught in the flood, leaving behind only my sister, Mia, who was under 10, and me. For years, we relied on each other, being each other's only family. Mia had just finished her SATs this year and was supposed to attend a top-tier university, but now she was dead, killed by a vicious dog. Grace, what new trick are you playing now? Ethan's impatient voice rang out, his voice hoarse, indicating he had been exerting himself. Being bitten a couple of times can kill someone? To make me come home, you're even cursing your own family now? You're truly vicious. With that, he hung up the phone. The busy signal echoed repeatedly in the empty corridor. Mrs. Margaret had heard everything and was trembling with rage, unable to utter a single word for a long time. She looked at my lifeless face, her brows, once tightly furrowed with concern for her son, now deepened even more. After a long while, she shakily took out a letter. Grace. This is your recommendation letter for overseas study. I'm so sorry. Go, don't ever come back. She closed her eyes, her face stained with tears. My fingertips traced the edge of the envelope. Within its subtle creases lay the years of regret I had carried for 3 years. 3 years ago, I was incredibly excited when I received this letter. Studying at the world's top universities had always been my dream. But my grandmother, Eleanor, was gravely ill, and the medicine she needed could only be provided by the Gu family. Although I couldn't save Eleanor last year, marrying into the Gu family bought our small family 2 more years of time. Furthermore, my sister, Mia's, high tuition fees far exceeded what I could afford. So found me and signed a contract with me. She wanted me, a dutiful daughter-in-law, to manage her wayward son. But always believed that I had used unscrupulous means to curry favor with his mother, painstakingly becoming Mrs. Gu, and for 3 years, he subjected me to extreme humiliation. Holding the recommendation letter now, my heart was perfectly calm. After thanking Margaret, I carried the urn directly to a study abroad agency and submitted the recommendation letter that was 3 years overdue. Ms. Grace, with your qualifications, you could have left 3 years ago. Why the delay? The staff member looked at me, full of admiration and confusion. I didn't answer, only asked, is the recommendation letter still valid? Yes. Then please help me with the procedures, as quickly as possible. Chapter 2. By the time I left, it was late. I sat on a bench by the lake. There were times when Ethan and I were tender with each other. He would put my hand in his coat pocket and say, "Grace, my parents' marriage was a transaction. Mom is busy, and Dad left with another woman. I don't understand love. I'm afraid I'll hurt you." That day, he wore a white shirt, looking clean yet desolate. His eyes, full of vulnerability, looked at mine. "Grace, you're so good. Teach me." My heart softened. I shed all my sharp edges and pride. Ethan suffered from severe insomnia, so I stayed with him all night, every night. I even learned many sensual dances to entertain him. Because of his one plea, "Teach me," I poured all my effort into loving him. I thought this transaction could be redeemed by love. But on my birthday, I cooked a table full of dishes. What came home, however, was him and a strange woman. He fed the woman the birthday cake I had made, right in front of me, then pointed at me and said, "This is the maid his mom bought him. Good cooking, right?" The woman burst into laughter, while I stood frozen, my blood turning cold, inch by inch. I didn't even have the strength to question him. I didn't expect the novelty to wear off so quickly. So quickly that before I could even react, he had already taken a neighborhood full of mistresses, reveling in nightly debauchery. I went to him for an explanation. But in front of his cronies, he poured a glass of red wine over my head. The cold liquid streamed down my hair, leaving transparent red stains on my clothes. He looked at my disheveled state, sneering as he pulled out a black card and slapped it against my face. "Is this enough? Grace, you're nothing but a reproductive tool my mother bought. You're a dog of the Goo family. You weren't so high and mighty when you took the money. Now you're playing the saint. How disgusting." Amidst everyone's laughter, pity, regret, my responsibility to my family and the love I had once given Ethan, fiercely attacked me. I was on the verge of collapse. It was Margaret who found me, begging me to stay. She promised me that as long as she lived, she wouldn't let anyone bully me. The family would also provide the best for my family. I believed her. As a result, I lost everything. As I was packing my luggage, the police came looking for me, asking me to go to the station to make a statement. Just as I was about to leave, the screech of brakes sounded, and Ethan's supercar stopped in front of me. He got out of the car, his eyes full of menace. "Did you call the police?" I was confused until my gaze fell upon Tiffany, who had also gotten out of the car, and then I understood. When's dog bit Mia? Mia had just finished an interview with the TV station as the top student in the state. The scene was packed with reporters and passers-by, flash bulbs flashing. There was no need for me to call the police, eyewitnesses had reported it immediately, but wouldn't listen, nor would he believe it. In his eyes, this was just a trick I was playing to make him come home. He pulled me into the car, his grip so strong it felt like he would crush my bones. "Trying to threaten me with the police? Want me to pity you? Grace, I never realized you were so manipulative. I'm telling you, if suffers even the slightest injustice, I'll make your damn sister repay it 1,000 times over." Behind him, Tiffany proudly stroked the massive pink diamond ring on her finger, her smile ostentatious and dazzling. "I didn't call the police, Before I could finish, Ethan's face lunged close, his breath reeking of another woman's perfume, nauseating me. "Grace, you're doing all this because you lack a man, aren't you? Because you're mad I've neglected you? Right here in the car, I'll satisfy you." Chapter 3. He forcibly kissed me, his actions as brutal as if he were devouring me. My stomach churned, and I kicked and struggled, using all my strength to push him away. Slap. A resounding slap landed hard on my face. My head was whipped to the side uncontrollably, my ears ringing. The desire in Ethan's eyes turned to rage. As if my struggle was a monumental humiliation to him, he adjusted his slightly ruffled collar, looking down at me coldly, like he was looking at a disobedient object. Ungrateful. With that, he embraced the smirking Tiffany, got back in the car, and drove away. The car's exhaust wafted over my face. Choking dust mingled with endless humiliation. I covered my stinging cheek and slowly stood up. My heart was a pool of stagnant water. I didn't return to the Goo family home. Instead, I went to the police precinct, completed my statement, applied for a temporary ID, and obtained Mia's death certificate. My already thin personal identity documents suddenly became completely empty, leaving only my single, fragile page. The S. Taff looked at my swollen face, hesitating to speak, their eyes full of sympathy. "Ms. Grace, please accept our condolences. We will investigate this matter thoroughly." I thanked them again and left. That night, I logged into my sister, Mia's, account. I changed her vibrant background to a somber, deathly gray. Messages were still constantly popping up on her account. Everyone was wishing her well, her teachers were eagerly urging her to choose a university, saying she was the pride of the school. In her message history, she had been refusing friends' invitations to travel the day before. She said her older sister worked very hard. I wanted to cry, but my tears seemed to be held back. My heart felt like it was being scorched by flames. I posted an obituary for my deceased loved one on my social media account. No names mentioned, no accusations, no extra emojis. Just an attached photo of the cold death certificate. After doing all that, I turned off my phone. The night was very quiet. I died with the world. When saw the obituary, he immediately rushed to me. He threw a thick wad of cash at me, hitting me in the face. Is that enough? Is this enough for you to delete that damn obituary? Grace, you're really shameless, aren't you? To make me come home, you actually cursed your own family to die. And your only living sister, you're truly unscrupulous for money. The bills brushed my cheek and scattered across the floor. I didn't wipe the blood from my face, just looked at him silently. Behind him, Tiffany, holding her vicious dog, spoke timidly. Ethan. The police said they're holding the dog owner responsible. I'm scared. I don't want to go to jail. Ethan immediately embraced her tenderly, comforting her softly, then turned to look at me, his eyes as cold as ice. You take the blame. Say it was your dog that accidentally got out, that you didn't watch it properly. Grace, don't you love me? Aren't you willing to do anything for me? You can't even do this small can you? He spoke as if it were only natural, a trivial matter. For the first time in 3 years, I looked directly at him with a scrutinizing gaze, neither crying nor making a scene. Ethan, so in your heart, my love is so cheap? My voice was soft, but tears involuntarily streamed down my face. Ethan was momentarily taken aback, but under Tiffany's coaxing, he still spoke coldly. You eat my food, live in my house, and you've gained so many benefits from the Gu family. Isn't it only right that you put in some effort now? What's more, Tiffany's dog bit your family. If you get their understanding, you'll be let out after a reprimand. What's there to be wronged about? Enough. I pointed at the urn on the table, no longer able to hold back my tears. My grandmother, Eleanor, is dead, and now my only family, my sister, Mia, is also dead. She's never coming back. How can you expect me to forgive? How can you expect me to take the blame? Chapter 4. Ethan was completely stunned. He looked at my tear-streaked face, then at the cold urn on the table, and a flicker of uncharacteristic hesitation crossed his eyes. Behind him, Tiffany's eyes flashed with quick panic, but she immediately clutched Ethan's arm, her voice thick with sobs. Ethan, look at her, she's still acting. To force you home, she even brought 2 urns here to put on a show. This is too realistic, too vicious. Grace, you're really crazy. To gain sympathy, you'd stoop to such despicable tricks. I didn't expect Ethan to believe Tiffany. The next second, the flicker of hesitation in his eyes was instantly erased, replaced by furious indignation at being deceived. He lunged forward, and to my horror, snatched the box containing Mia's ashes from the table, raised it high, and violently smashed it to the ground. The next second, he abruptly lifted his foot and kicked the urn hard on the table. No! I screamed and lunged forward, but he pushed me away, sending me crashing to the floor. I watched helplessly as the 2 heavy wooden boxes tumbled and crashed onto the cold tile floor. Bang! A crisp, dull shattering sound echoed through the room. The lids flew off, and grayish-white powder, mixed with splintered wood, scattered everywhere. My last hope of living in this world was gone. Ah! The pain was like a sharp blade piercing my heart. I lost all strength and collapsed. After a long time, I finally looked up, my eyes lifeless as I stared at him. Ethan, I don't love you anymore. Nor do I hate you. I don't even have the strength to hate you. Go. Grace. Ethan's eyes were complicated. He opened his mouth but couldn't say anything. Get out. Under my enraged shout, he hurried away, almost fleeing, pulling Tiffany with him. The door slammed shut, shaking a patch of dust from the wall. I carefully gathered Mia's ashes and placed them in her favorite jewelry box. In my mind, Mia smiled sweetly, revealing her tiny canine tooth, saying, Sister, when I graduate and make a lot of money, I'll take you traveling all over the world. You can go wherever you want, I'll work and support you. But now, my only family was a handful of ashes. I took a small pinch of Mia's ashes, placed them in a small vial, and wore it close to my heart. Mia, you loved freedom the most. I'll take you to see the world, to see all people, to see freedom. In the car, Ethan irritably ripped off his tie. Grace's hollow eyes, like 2 deep wells, lingered in his mind. I don't love you anymore. The words echoed like a curse over and over. He slammed on the brakes, turning to stare fixedly at Tiffany. Your dog, it really didn't kill anyone? Tiffany was startled, a flicker of guilt crossing her face, but then she straightened her back. Of course not. Ethan, how can you not believe me and believe that crazy woman? My baby is so well behaved, usually doesn't even step on an ant, how could it bite someone to death? She cooed, leaning closer, her soft fingers tracing circles on Ethan's chest. Ethan, stop thinking about that spoilsport. Let's go to my apartment. I've learned a few new tricks recently. Ethan pushed her away, his brows furrowed with uncontainable annoyance. I have things to do. Go home by yourself. He kicked Tiffany out of the car, slammed on the gas, and sped away. Chapter 5. In the 3 days after I left, Ethan grew increasingly irritable, even turning down friends' invitations to drink. He sat in his office, which overlooked the entire city, for 3 straight days. For 3 consecutive days, he didn't receive any signs of me softening. What he did get was a media frenzy that caused an explosion for the GU's public relations. The media began a deep dive into the incident of the top student in the state being bitten to death by a dog, coupled with the evidence I provided. The news of the top student's tragic death on the street instantly went viral. Even the TV station rebroadcasted Mia's last interview before her death. In the video, Mia, wearing a faded school uniform and a ponytail, her eyes sparkling with aspirations for the future. I want to be as excellent as my older sister. If I could become a diplomat, it would be the honor of my life. Immediately after, there was a scene of what she planned to do after the interview, where Mia said she'd wait for me to get off work to celebrate. But at that heartwarming moment, a vicious dog suddenly lunged, tackling Mia to the ground, then fiercely biting her neck and refusing to let go. The screams of onlookers captured on surveillance, the wail of the ambulance, and Mia's cries became the desperate background noise of that video. Then came the sound of me begging Ethan after learning Mia was bitten. But's mocking tone was jarringly out of place with everyone else's heartbreak. Grace, when did you learn to vie for attention? You're not my little mistress, your dignified and rigid self suits you better. So what if she died? Tiffany's complacent and provocative laugh as she indulged. Her vicious dog was strikingly clear on camera. The extreme contrast made the video go viral again and again. Hashtag top student dies by vicious dog. Hashtag genius fallen. Hashtag wealthy young master indulges mistress. Hashtag unleashes dog to harm. Hashtag sister Grace was former SATs top scorer. Hashtag sacrifices Cambridge for family. These hashtags practically dominated the entire internet. Curious netizens dug up Ethan's identity, as well as my former brilliance and current obscurity. Amidst the widespread public outcry, Ethan saw the most detailed report. The death certificate, which he thought I had used to win him back, now caused him extreme heartache. What broke him even more was the anonymous recording released online. In the recording, it was his own cold and cruel voice. Being bitten a couple of times can kill someone? Is this money enough? You take the blame. Say the dog is yours. Don't you love me? You can't even do this small thing, can you? The truth was like a burning hot iron, searing his soul. The color drained from his face at a visible rate. Ethan frantically called me. But the only response he got was a mechanical female voice. He didn't give up, trying different platforms, just wanting to send me a message. But every message sent was followed by a cold exclamation mark. He tried every contact method. He thought of everyone who could find me, but none of them could reach me. At that moment, he realized. He had been completely blocked from my life. Chapter 6. He frantically rushed back to the villa. But when he pushed open the door, it was empty, frighteningly quiet. All my belongings had disappeared. Even the traces of my presence had been wiped clean. As if I were just a 3-year-long dream he had. He wandered around the villa like a madman, calling my name over and over again, trying to find any item that could prove I had existed. Finally, on the bedside table, he saw a divorce certificate. Pressed beneath it was a simple wedding ring. It was our wedding ring. Its shape was designed to his liking. Only his own ring had long since been lost, he knew not where. But I had always worn mine. For this, he had even mocked me, saying I was cunning, using every means to prove my identity as Mrs. Gu. Now, that identity, I truly no longer wanted. Yet he held these things he once disdained, trembling uncontrollably. Grace, I was really wrong. Where are you? Please come back. A cry, not quite human, burst from his throat. He started searching for me frantically. He used all his connections, only to find that I had already completed my overseas study procedures with that recommendation letter, 3 years overdue. He couldn't bear it and fainted. Margaret looked at her son, who had aged 10 years on the hospital bed, her eyes filled with endless disappointment and exhaustion. Now you want to find her? What were you doing before? She slapped the information collected by the caregiver, page by page, onto Ethan's face. On 7th, at 3 p.m., you took Tiffany to an auction to bid on that pink diamond, while Grace was at City General Hospital's morgue, signing for her sister Mia's remains. On 7th, at 8 p.m., you and that woman were making love on the marital bed, while Grace was alone at the funeral home, guarding a cold body. On 8th, at 10 a.m., you accused her of being vicious and forced her to take the fall for a dog. Ethan, when you sent those indecent photos to humiliate her, did you ever consider what she was feeling, having just lost her family? She only had that one family member left. Her sister, Mia, had just been accepted into university, and was a top student in the state. Ethan, it was you, who personally drove away the only person in this world who truly loved you. Each document thrown at him felt like a red-hot knife, flaying Ethan raw. Regret, like a tidal wave, engulfed him. He couldn't even believe that he had done so many unforgivable things to me. After left, he hugged his head, painfully curled up on the floor, like a broken dog. And at this time, I was already in London, standing by the Thames, letting the cool river breeze blow away my last bit of weariness and dust. I cut off the long hair I had kept for Ethan for 3 years. The moment my hair fell, I felt like I had shed shackles. The girl in the mirror had short, ear-length hair and clear eyes. This was the person I remembered myself to be. I stood at the gates of Cambridge University, looking at the ancient and solemn buildings. I gently touched the small vial containing Mia's ashes, which I wore around my neck. Mia, this is where we should have come 3 years ago. I immersed myself in studying, drowning myself in books. It seemed that only this way could I forget the pain, so that I wouldn't see everything and be reminded of Mia's shattered body, torn apart by the dog. Every time I achieved something, I would bring Mia's ashes with me, standing together on the podium. I knew that if Mia were still alive, her achievements would surely surpass mine. But she was dead, killed by my ex-husband's mistress's dog. I could never forgive myself. Chapter 7 Grace, can you smile? During a group project, Owen, also an international student, suddenly sat beside me. I frowned, not wanting to talk to him. Owen pulled out his phone and motioned. I know what happened to you. My sister, Mia, and your sister, Mia, were classmates. My sister, Mia, said that she actually lived very painfully. She felt she was a burden to you, and that she would be happy if she could do something for you. As he spoke, he opened a video. In the video, Mia's laughter could be heard. She was recording a time capsule with her classmates. Hi, me 10 years from now, you must be able to help my sister now, right? Have you achieved something great according to my plans? I don't have many ambitions, I just hope my sister is always happy. Oh, and I wonder how Eleanor is doing in 10 years. If she's not here anymore, then in heaven, please bless my sister with peace, good fortune, and endless happiness. After that, she laughed and played with her friends. I snatched the phone. I watched it over and over again. The video was so vivid, it was as if my sister, Mia, was alive beside me again. Tears blurred my vision. Owen seemed startled by me. He kept trying to comfort me. Your sister, Mia, wanted you to be happy. If she truly is watching over you, she'd be even sadder to see you unhappy. I cried even harder. Clutching the ashes I always carried, I quietly made a promise in my heart. From now on, I would live my life well. Just as my sister, Mia, had hoped, happily. That day, I cried for a long time, and Owen comforted me for a long time. He wasn't good at comforting people. The more he tried, the sadder I became. But he was truly persistent. He came to comfort me promptly every day. I seemed to have emerged from that period of pain. The professors were all surprised by my change. They even began to praise my brilliance. I felt like I had come back to life. And, after losing me, his life became a shocking mess. Chapter 8 Margaret, overworked and disheartened by her son, fell critically ill. The massive goo was handed over to Ethan. He simply lacked the ability to manage the company. After several misguided decisions, he eventually stopped going to the company altogether. The company's stock price continuously plummeted. He began to drink heavily every day, numbing his pain and regret with alcohol. Every time he got drunk, my image flashed before his eyes. It was as if I was still by his side, still loving him so much. But when reality hit, he had to face the cruel truth. He unleashed all his resentment and hatred onto Tiffany. The woman he once held protectively in his arms was exposed by him, revealing all her unsavory past. Ethan even had all of Tiffany's assets frozen, leaving homeless and reviled by the public. Watching her fall into the mud overnight, her life worse than death, Ethan still felt it wasn't enough. He personally handed her and the vicious dog over to the police. Before was taken away, she cried and begged him, "Ethan, save me. Didn't you say you loved me the most?" Ethan just looked at her coldly and said, "You deserve this." Tiffany did not go to prison. Because she tried to resist at the police station, her vicious dog was agitated and bit her arm severely. Then she developed rabies and died in extreme pain and fear. Upon hearing about Tiffany, Ethan felt no relief. Instead, he plummeted into endless suffering. Because he knew that the true culprit was himself. And no matter what he did, the girl whose eyes were always on him would not come back. He had personally destroyed his own salvation. The days of torment made him feel as if he had already died. Finally, he couldn't bear it anymore. If he couldn't get my forgiveness, he might truly not be able to live anymore. So he used all his connections and spent a huge amount of money to find out which city I was in. The moment he saw my photo, he felt like a drowning man who had found his last straw. He abandoned his chaotic company in the country and boarded a plane for the UK. Chapter 9. When he appeared before me, he looked haggard, as if all his spirit had been drained from him. On his emaciated face, which was almost barely recognizable, the handsome contours of his past could still faintly be seen. His eyes were bloodshot as he looked at me, his lips trembling. His gaze was filled with a thick, almost palpable pain and plea. "Grace, can we talk?" His voice was hoarse, like sandpaper rubbing. His posture was lowered to the dust. I looked at him as if he were a stranger blocking my way. There was no hatred, no love. Only a cold and detached emptiness, covered in ice and snow, that would never melt. "Mr. Ethan, please step aside. I'm going to be late." My voice was very soft, carrying a polite distance. "Grace, just for a moment." He eagerly took a step forward. But before he could reach me, he was blocked by Owen, who was with me. "Oh." And watched Ethan warily. Compared to him, Ethan, now disheveled and desolate, looked exceptionally pathetic. Almost instantly, the light in Ethan's eyes extinguished. He swayed precariously. My calm, polite address, and the other man's instinctive protection. It seemed to pain Ethan more than any scolding or beating. He froze in place. I walked past him. Sunlight filtered through the campus sycamore trees, casting dappled shadows on me. Owen and I chatted and laughed, not looking back. After that day, I thought he would give up. But to my surprise, he established a massive foundation in the names of my grandmother, Eleanor, and my sister, Mia. This method of throwing money around for compensation had always been his specialty. But these things could never atone for his sins. Using the names of the dead to rectify his mistakes made him seem malicious and frivolous. He held a grand press conference, bought the house next to her apartment, and stood guard there every day like a ghost, yet never dared to knock on my door. London is often rainy, and he would frequently stand in the rain all night. The next morning, when I drew back the curtains, I would always see his disheveled figure. Exorbitant gifts flowed to me like water, limited edition jewelry, the latest model sports car, even a library named after me. But I ignored them. I returned the gifts untouched. I never attended any of the foundation's events. All his actions were just futile struggles. Later, I received a call from the Gu family. Margaret's voice was very weak. "Grace, it's me. I'm not doing well. Could you come and see me one last time?" On the phone, Margaret still maintained her dignified composure. I was silent for a long time. I could almost imagine that this mother simply wanted to make a final plea for her son. "Mrs. Margaret, what we had was nothing more than an unspoken exchange of benefits. You needed me to keep Ethan in check, and I needed money to save my family. I appreciate the kindness. Why? Oh, you showed me, but you should also know that the sacrifices I made for your son are enough to offset your goodwill. You kept my recommendation letter, using my life to compensate for your son's mistakes. I was also a child cherished by my grandmother, Eleanor. If she knew everything I endured, she would be heartbroken. And my sister, Mia, was killed by your son. Their spirits, watching over us, would surely be saddened if I went to see you." A long silence followed on the other end of the line. Finally, only a regretful "I'm sorry" came through. The call was disconnected. I looked at the bright sunlight outside the window, my heart filled with a cold calm. Chapter 10. Due to Margaret's severe illness, Ethan had to return to the country. I lived a quiet life for a while. Owen's twin sister, Olivia, came to visit him. Olivia told me daily what my sister, Mia, had said in her lifetime. These days, I followed Mia's past wishes. going to every place she had wanted to visit for her. Even if she couldn't see these sights, I could tell her about them when we reunited. After we finished visiting the last city, Owen suddenly took out a ring and knelt before me. "Grace," he said, "I want you to be my girlfriend. I like you." He looked at me nervously, his eyes filled with immense sincerity. I looked at him for a long moment. A fierce battle raged within me. "Owen," I said, "please get up. I'll think about it seriously, but I don't want to give you any answer during this trip." Ethan's past had left a deep shadow over me. I wasn't sure if I had enough love left to give to another person. Owen didn't make it difficult for me. His gaze toward me just grew softer. That evening, when I returned to school, he told me something I had once said to Ethan. "Grace, I can give my all to love you. If your love isn't enough, I can give you mine." That day, I looked at him and ultimately chose to leave. I didn't want to give love anymore, nor did I want anyone to bear the burden of my lack of it. After that day, I started traveling again. This time, it was for myself. When I returned to school again, Ethan was standing at the entrance. He looked even more haggard than the last time. Students around told me he had been waiting for me there for a long time. "Grace," he pleaded, "can you say a few words to me? Even if it's my mother's last request." My gaze fell upon what he held in his arms. Just like years ago when I held Mia and Eleanor's urns, he was holding Margaret's urn. Margaret had finally passed away. Out of respect for the deceased, I finally nodded. "Grace, I know I was wrong." Hearing his words, I instinctively turned to leave. But right there, on the bustling street, beneath the school's ancient clock tower, he dropped to his knees with a thud. He was wearing an expensive suit, yet he knelt so completely, so humbly. It seemed he could no longer control his pent-up emotions. Clutching's cold urn, he cried with heart-wrenching sobs. He wept as he confessed his pathological lack of love and insecurity, admitting all the crimes he had committed, slapping himself repeatedly. "Grace, I know I deserve to die 1,000 deaths. I'm not human. I hurt you, I hurt Eleanor and Mia, and I hurt my mom too. But please, look at me, now that I've lost everything, give me one more chance. I beg you. You can make me do anything." Passers-by around us glanced over, pointing at him. I listened to him finish in silence, my face devoid of any expression. Then, I looked up at the sky in the distance, where a white dove was flying freely. "Ethan," I said, "you always ask me how you can earn my forgiveness. But why should I forgive you? My family lies in a cold grave, never to see the sun again. My sister, her life had just begun. And you only lost an unruly wife and a mother you already owed. Your so-called pain is a seed you planted yourself. Now that it's borne fruit, you expect me to help you bear it? Why should I?" I averted my gaze, looking at him one last time. "Ethan, what was between us was always a mistake. If time could rewind, I would rather have never met you." After speaking my last words, I turned and walked into the campus. Warm sunlight fell upon me, like a golden glow, guiding me toward the future. I didn't look back. Behind me, I heard Ethan's despairing sobs. The man who was once so arrogant didn't even dare to cry out loud. He knelt on the bustling street, small and vulnerable under the sympathetic or scornful gazes of countless passers-by. Everything he once prided himself on now meant nothing. His mother, who loved him, and the girl whose eyes were full of him, they had all left him. I embraced my complete rebirth. As for him, he would forever live in the hell he had created for himself, savoring an endless regret. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your views, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.